Report.
Everything's status quo, sir.
Very well. If anyone needs me, I'll be in my ready room.
Hello, and welcome to the Readier Room, the only and longest-running Star Trek The Next Generation rewatch podcast. Every week, we're bringing you behind-the-scenes stories of every episode in chronological order of how the magic happened on the set of Star Trek The Next Generation. My name is Mitchell Mells, Chief Consultant of Services. With me is my partner, Brandon Hobbs. Brandon, how are we doing today?
Well, Mitch, I'm doing great. We both watched the same episode this week.
Yeah, it's a new one for us.
It's a first,
but not a last, I hope.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see how this one's gonna go.
Yeah, we'll finally be on the same page in conversation instead of talking past each other in a vain effort to be funnier.
Well, that's not gonna stop.
What? So today we actually have a special guest in the studio with us. That not going to be a speaking guest, but just to keep everybody aware, our official biographer is sitting in with us to
That's right.
get some ideas on and some perspective on how the magic happens here. It's a very exciting day.
It's an exciting time. Yeah. So did you want to give him a shout out?
Yeah. This is for Stephen Gould. Look at him smiling. He knows that we're talking about him. He knows his own name. Thank
pretty
you,
prolific
Steven.
writer.
What were some of his other works?
Well, he did a lot on the Vietnam War.
Right.
He wrote Good Evening Vietnam.
A seminal work on the event.
Yeah. Pretty well known book. What else did he write?
He did that biography of Liberace. That's part of why I wanted to hire him. I was very impressed by it.
I haven't read that one yet.
Yeah, the sequence.
You're the you're the reader here, Mitch. So
it's true. I'm a voracious reader. I'm just very voracious.
Excuse me.
Steven, write that down. You burped.
That was a cough, Steven.
Let the record show that it was burp adjacent.
You're trying to rewrite history.
He's the one actually writing it, is the thing. I don't have to rewrite anything.
I guess you're absolved then.
Yeah. No, I mean, don't put me in water. I don't want to be absolved. So how have you been recently, Brandon?
Doing okay. Something that's bothering me right now in this moment. Do you ever do a Google search for something? Like you're trying to look at a picture of something, and the only relevant results that really show up are Pinterest links.
Yeah.
And it's just a bunch of like low quality images, like smattered across a screen, just apropos of nothing, and you have no idea how to navigate the site. It seems like there really is no way to navigate the site.
Yeah, they've really...
It's just really bothersome.
The fucking... Doing an image search. Pinterest has ruined Google image search.
It absolutely has, yeah.
And I can't quite forgive them for that.
You know what else has ruined Google image search, Mitch?
What's that?
Did you know that if you search for white historical figures, all that comes up is black people?
Oh, I have to go try this. White historical figures. Now, are these like anime figures?
Yeah, not quite anime, but they're still like 12-inch.
This is strange because that is what happens.
Does that actually happen?
Well, I'm kind of looking at it now, but there's Muhammad Ali.
There's a few, yeah.
Yeah.
There's one, if you look up white...
Gandhi, MLK here.
There's white something that if you look up, it's all black people because I think a certain group of people got tricked into searching it so much and clicking on the stuff that doesn't apply to the search query. Right, so it just moved all of these pictures of like black people up to the top, and now people search it, they get angry about it, which is it's quite the cycle. What are you just like enamored by?
I looked up when you said you type in white something, I started Googling and I typed in white black people. And
Are they like black and white cookies?
No, I mean it's
split down the middle.
I don't know if it's albinism or what, but it's
that Michael Jackson disease, right?
I don't know, but it's because their facial structure and their features, their hair, etc., very clearly black, and
these are albinos.
Yeah, but black albinos are less pink than white albinos.
Oh wow, here's they are. Here's an interesting link. The Guardian, they look white but say they're black.
Interesting. I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Yeah, I'm gonna read that later.
So
recently
I've been hopelessly addicted to video games.
Is that right? Oh, that's surprising. For a man your age.
It is. Yeah, I tried to leave childish things behind in my childhood. But of the past 5 days, I've committed 80 plus hours to playing video games.
What video game are you playing?
Some Pokemon bullshit.
Oh, Pokemon, yeah.
I remember when everybody was walking around with that on their phones, and apparently my son's Switch now. But it's nice because I can just sit there in my chair and turn my brain off for 12, 16 hours at a time. It's a lot like going to sleep, actually. Only I'm a lot more tired afterwards.
Well, personally, you know how I feel about Pokemon. It's bordering on satanic. So
yeah.
The mere mention of the word evolution kind of sets me off.
Right. I like the way the British say it, evolution, because it's
evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like pedophile.
Right. Because they're, quite fond of pita bread.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I quite like pita breads. They're not on Kaiser roll tier. Steve, right? I really like Kaiser rolls. Make sure you have that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He loves them.
Anyway, they're not quite in Kaiser roll tier, but they're quite good. I like how soft they are and how prone they are to absorb the flavor of whatever you wrap them in or wrap them with.
Yeah, well, you know what's even better is Pita Chips.
Yeah, I've never had Pita Chips, but I imagine.
Oh, no kidding!
I imagine they're quite good.
You gotta go to the import store and find some.
My image is that Pita Chips are like the sugar cookie of chips, in that they're just very soft and pleasant, without a striking flavor.
No, because they usually flavor them much like a Lay's chip that's not the original kind. But you get a good pita chip and some hummus.
Okay.
And man, you'll finish it in one sitting.
Now, a hummus. That's all I have to say on that.
Mm-hmm.
So this week's question of the week comes from, who is this? Let me get my information up here. Comes from Bruce in L.A. He says, "Howdy doody, Admiral Loonies. I'm an up-and-coming producer trying to get my feelers out there and network with people. So I figured I would network with my two best friends on the Readier Room. Have you guys heard of my production company, Loud Junk? We make a lot of animations, and we're trying to find our way out in the world. I don't have a question. I just wanted to plug my production company.
Loud Junk.
Loud Junk. Let me Google this.
Have you heard of this?
I have not, but perhaps I should. Oh no. All right. Well, I'm only getting some. There's a lot of noise in this search. There's not a lot of signal.
Oh, you've heard of Newgrounds.com, right?
No.
Well, it was one of those big. It's what they call flash animation.
It's not pornography.
No, Mitch.
Someone tells
It's,
me, "Oh, I showed her my flash animation."
It's like indie animation. Way back in the day, there's a lot of
Is
old
that like
Newgrounds
Indiana
creators.
Jones? Indie animation.
Indie animation. Was there an Indiana Jones cartoon?
There was Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, which was 80% cartoon.
You mean he didn't actually get flung in the air inside a fridge?
No. That was a special effect.
Oh, special effect.
Right.
Well, we know all about those.
Yes. We're special effect masters.
Yeah. Well, anyway, good luck with that, Bruce.
Yeah, I don't appreciate so much using our valuable question of the week time to plug somebody.
Yeah, it's a little rude.
Yeah.
But we'll overlook it this time. Just don't do it again. Feel free to have your people contact our people.
Right.
So we can formally reject you. But
I mean, it is a little nostalgic in a way. I remember, in early Hollywood, my early times in Hollywood. Not early Hollywood. That was probably 100 years before I was born. Well, actually, maybe only like 5 years, but
Jurassic Hollywood.
But you're working as a waiter. You see this hotshot producer there feeling up some poor actress, and you go and you slide him your script or your card or your headshot on the table, and you're like, take a look. And
yeah. But there used to be like a kind of decorum to it. You would also slide something else somewhere else.
Right.
Just as a matter of course. So that doesn't happen anymore, and I feel like we were kind of robbed of that.
Yeah, these kids don't have the same character building experiences that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just, I'm going to write into this podcast and show them my loud junk.
Everything's easy for them now. They got their TikToks and their OnlyFans.
Right. Back in my day, TikTok, time is money. Now there's an abundance of time, and you can just imagine being the type of person to lay on your sofa and play a video game for 16 hours at a time, at a clip.
Yeah. No, I do I do kind of pine for the days when there was only 23 hours in a day.
Yeah, I like that.
The world's getting really weird.
Well, it threw off my whole circadian rhythm when they added that extra hour.
Yeah.
So now,
what are you gonna do? I mean, our year would have been all messed up if they didn't.
Yeah, well, details, but my cycle is still on that 23-hour rotation, so eventually I just drift slowly away from everybody else, which is quite annoying.
Yeah.
And
so your period comes at different times of the month.
Yeah, it's a quite heavy flow, which is what I like to think. If you look in my trash bin, you'll see the evidence of that.
All we can really do is imagine it.
Yeah. By the way, recently I learned why it's called a roofie. And for I don't know how many years I thought it had something to do with raising the roof, but that is just not true.
I feel like I know the answer to this, but tell me.
It's the drug is called Rufinol.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a roofie. But yeah, I did not know that. And I felt kind of dumb.
Rudolphinol.
And
it makes your nose glow red.
Well, there's got to be something there. Won't you guide my dick tonight?
It's like slipping someone a Mickey. You slip them a Rudolph.
Right.
Both beloved cartoon characters.
Yes, Mickey was also the name of the belligerent dwarf on Seinfeld. Unrelated.
Well, somewhat related to this episode, speaking of Seinfeld.
Yeah. I don't really understand, but yeah. Care to explain?
Yeah, what's his name was in Seinfeld?
The Ral?
Ral, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Was
He was, right?
I don't know. Was he?
I swear to God he was.
What's his name? All right, hold on. What was the name of this fucking episode?
Yeah, he was Lloyd Braun, remember?
Wasn't Lloyd Braun old? Like very old?
No.
What the fuck? Hold on.
No, he was like that schizo, remember?
Okay, yes.
Which I think is the only convincing role he's ever played.
Well, you didn't like his work in The Price?
We'll get to it, but or maybe we can just start off with that. No, I hated it. He's not a convincing. He's got an attractive face for the most part, but his mannerisms and his eyes, he comes off as a complete nutcase.
Well, I think that was direction. To me, no, because a lot of this episode hits that same mark of being this caricature that's not at all romantic or emotional or endearing or much of anything. To me, if you had given somebody the directive to adapt a Harlequin romance novel into a Star Trek episode, this is what you would get, along with all of the one-dimensionality of every principal character, and that rings true in this actor's portrayal of the character, where it's just a never-ending series of faux romantic ploys.
I'm not at all convinced by that. He comes off immediately as someone you shouldn't trust.
Well, I look at the way it's shot. Look at the musical stings. Look at the script. All of this is just completely not intentional, by the way. I'm not trying to make an excuse for it. I think it's terrible, but all of it is over the top. And if you had told me that his performance received heavy directing, I would believe it, because they're very clearly trying to hit some tone here.
I honestly I wouldn't. And maybe you're right, but it doesn't seem that way to me. And it's just like I was immediately unconvinced by Troy's attraction to him.
Well, that came out of nowhere.
There's nothing remotely attractive about the way he presents himself.
Other than I think he's an attractive actor, and if they're leaning on just that, his appearance.
Well, he's okay looking, but like I said, he has that look to his face that like he's right at home playing Lloyd Braun in Seinfeld.
Well, what kind of a bizarre cope is this? He's an extremely attractive actor.
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
He looks like he will kill you in your sleep. I'm not saying he's not attractive. He looks like he will kill you in your sleep.
I think we're talking past each other in some respects.
Yeah, maybe we are. We'll have to get a larger survey.
Steven, what do you think? Give me a thumbs up if you think he's attractive. Steven didn't watch the episode.
Thumbs down.
Yeah,
thumbs down. See,
he didn't watch the episode. He's like he gave a shrug and a thumbs down. Whatever.
He does that thing with his mouth. It's just
the half smirk.
Yeah, it's gross.
I don't know. A lot of his physical acting is so clearly intentional that I think it's all misguided, but on purpose.
He has those like weird like droopy eyes that.
What gets me is massive,
with no light in them.
His massive crow's feet.
Yeah, yeah. That is weird. Like I'm not saying, I don't know. Maybe it's like the closeness of his eyes and the roundness of them that really throw me off. There's something about his face that makes him look untrustworthy. It's the combination of the eyes and that weird smirk he does.
Well,
I think he looks like a fucking mental patient.
Well, he's playing a seedy character, right?
Sure, but that's not seedy. It's like a seedy character is someone who would convincingly be charismatic, and this guy just is not.
I think that he is quote unquote charismatic in the same way that Riker is in many episodes, which is to say not at all. But it's the writer and the actor both believing that this is charisma and just being so far off the mark.
I really have a feeling that this is how Matt McCoy acts in like his daily life.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, no, I cannot. I cannot help but feel like he's just fucking weird.
I don't know. I was not nearly as offended by this as you are.
Clearly, I was very offended. Like it took me out of the episode immediately.
Well, I mean, I was certainly struck by the artificiality of their attraction to each other, which was never really explained, touched upon, or anything. It's just Troy wants to fug, so that's the episode we're on.
Yeah. So yeah. How did I guess you already touched upon it. How you felt overall about this episode.
Well, I don't want to misconstrue or be misunderstood here. That I'm for this one particular thing, I'm kind of defending it, but I think the episode overall was just terrible garbage.
So bad.
Awful.
There is actually nothing redeeming about this episode.
No, not at all. You think that this would be a nice Riker vehicle at some point, but even that stuff just falls completely flat. I think
it totally does.
I think that the absolute nadir of the episode is that exchange later on between Ral and Riker, which is just awful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like you go into that scene wanting it to be impactful, and everything from the direction to the delivery to the writing. Everything just makes it fall flat on its face. It's so bad.
It's
and it could have been good.
To the last mile, saunters off.
Which is fine if you want to do a mic drop thing, fine. But and then Rawl sits there like he's just had some kind of revelation, like no one's ever talked to him like that before.
Yeah, he kind of just sits there and like gets a scolding from Riker. Like he just breaks eye contact and stares at the floor.
Yeah. Like there's this little bit of resistance threw him off, and I don't know, maybe he's never had any kind of resistance because he's such a player or whatever. But ostensibly. If I saw this guy in real life, I'd punch him in the face the second I saw him. But
they play really fast and loose with his empathic abilities.
They certainly do.
Where he uses it perfectly throughout his entire career, and then just completely bungles perceiving anything of Riker's emotions.
Maybe Riker is part Ferengi. Well, actually, they retconned this because
you're right. I
used to
didn't
be
catch
that
this.
Troy couldn't read Ferengis, and now she can.
Let it be known that they retcon this by the point of Deep Space Nine, at least, where Troy's mother shows up and says that she cannot get a read on Quark and other Ferengi.
Maybe maybe Goss is a mutt or something.
That would explain his appearance and demeanor.
Did you notice that just while we're on the topic of Ferengi, that they went back to portraying them as like these like little hunched over doing that little thing with their hands.
Yeah, it's not quite the more extremely goblin-like portrayal from their first outing, but it's also not.
Yeah.
It's less than civilized.
It's still a step backwards from the Ferengi we got last season, who were basically normal. They stood like normal human beings.
Now they're just rude goblins.
Yeah.
We really needed to establish their rudeness with the chair scene.
That I wanted to shoot myself in the head. That was like a middle school play, like written by a middle schooler type scene. Trying to be funny.
You can have my chair.
Like, and, not only is it not funny, we're supposed to believe that they don't have like somewhere that they put extra chairs.
Yeah, that was
Easily accessible.
I see more people in that conference room on the reg than they
Right.
showed in that scene.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Really dumb. So listen, we actually do have somewhat of a reason to start with the beginning of this episode.
No
because
way.
It's so fucking weird. Troy. We start with Troy, right? And she wants chocolate ice cream or something.
Oh my god, I forgot about this.
You forgot about this?
What a terrible scene. And here's the thing. I really think that so they go through a lot of work to establish the point of view of this episode of being through Troy's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
With a lot of this terrible, I don't know, women minutia. And it's like, okay, we want the 0.5% of our audience to really relate to this Troy character. So what do women like? Sweets.
Chocolate.
Real chocolate.
Yeah. It's interesting because this is probably a holdout from the original pitch of this episode, which was just one sentence in a memo we got months before production even started on this, and the single sentence was just Troy gets her period,
right?
Which
with a scene like that, you can really see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it eventually evolved beyond that concept, but so she gets mad at the computer because she's like, I want real chocolate,
right?
And the computer says basically exactly what I'm thinking, and says, define real in context, please. like, what? This has never been an issue in the history of Star Trek that the computer doesn't produce real food, and then it goes even further with the computer saying that it only produces food of acceptable nutritional value. Now, why is that a problem?
Well,
because it produces alcohol.
Well, if not only does it produce alcohol, it produces, I think it was Up the Long Ladder. Worf asks it for this Klingon alcohol that's stated that it will just outright kill people.
Right, that's right, yeah.
But of course, the drunk Irishman of the episode had enough tolerance for it because they're savages, but
because they're degenerates, yeah.
Yeah, but clearly this is just I don't know why. And then Troy's asked to do her job, and she gets uppity at that, further hammering home the period thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just everything about this opening scene is probably the worst Trek I have ever seen.
Doesn't get better.
Which goes, yeah, it really goes to show, why we never had a Troy episode, because she acts like this.
Fucking terrible.
Yeah. So Picard calls her, and because they're about to go see a wormhole.
Right, and he says like, we're gonna go see your wormhole.
Yeah. That was something Patrick did. We had several takes of him saying, because he's supposed to say what?
Right.
We're about to get our first look at the wormhole, but he would keep saying your wormhole, and I could never figure out if it was on purpose.
That's the thing. I completely forgot that was not in the actual final cut. It's so many takes of that it just burned itself in my mind.
Marina, you started getting kind of pissed off about it. Much like Troy.
Yeah, maybe it was a character method acting moment. Yeah, like, oh, Troy would get mad at this misogyny, so I'm gonna get mad. But
it could be. Maybe she's a better actor than we give her credit for. Actress.
Oh, that's true. But I remember her stomping off at some point and just kind of muttering, "I don't have a wormhole." Maybe she just took it to heart.
Oh man.
And then she goes. There's a bunch of strange aliens there. They all look like weird aliens. Well, the alien design is better than it usually is. The costumes.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah. It looks less messy for sure.
Speaking of white black people, that's what one of the aliens looks like. It's got these silver blonde dreads, pale skin.
Oh yeah, yeah. What? Yeah, she does actually. She was a weird one.
Mr.
We
Grinch.
also have like another black guy. The hell was his name? Leor.
Yeah, Leor.
Was he black or was he blue? I can't remember. He was some kind of light color though.
Yeah, he was caramel.
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 All right.
And,
hold on, Steven.
That's right. That's right. This episode is brought to you by Snickers.
Steven says caramel.
I guess I have to concede. Steven does have the last say here.
Steven's the universe.
What's that from?
I just said it.
Yeah. So did you know Kevin Peter Hall, Leor? He played the Predator. Did you know that?
Yeah. No, I did not know that.
You've never seen the Predator, have you?
No. I've seen Predator 2 with Danny. What's his name?
Elfman.
That's not Danny Elfman. You can't lie to me. Danny
Glover.
Danny Glover. That's right. And it was Black Man versus Predator. That was what they wrote on the poster. That's why I saw it.
Black Man versus Predator.
So that sounds like an even matchup.
He played the Predator in that one too.
Really?
What if they made a movie called Hansen versus Predator, and it was Chris Hansen versus the Predator?
Was Kevin Michael Hall in that?
Kevin Peter Hall?
Oh, right. Was he in that?
Hansen versus Predator?
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, Mitch, he passed away soon after filming, so I don't think so.
Oh, right. We went to his funeral. I don't know how I forgot that.
Yeah. Well, some guest stars are just forgettable.
Well, there's a reason they didn't graduate to a full-on role.
Yeah, there's definitely. I mean, he was a great guy, and I think we all kind of felt for him, in terms of his struggle with HIV. But when you look back on it, it's kind of like it's amazing how ignorant people were back then.
Well,
right?
I mean, it doesn't hurt to be precautious. I felt for him, but I went through great pains to not feel him.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, he was constantly touching us and breathing on us and stuff. And I'm honestly surprised we didn't catch it.
Yeah.
I'm glad there's a cure for it nowadays, Mitch. So we don't have to worry about it. We can kind of just indiscriminately,
I know. It's more of a poor people's disease.
That's certainly true. That actually is true. I'm not going to incriminate myself and speak further on it, but
all right, pop quiz.
We can speak off mic about this. Okay, all right, go for it.
Do you know what HIV stands for?
Human immunodeficiency virus.
It's actually a high occupancy vehicle.
Occupancy. High occupancy.
It's so icky.
It's very icky.
Oh goodness! So
someone threw up in it.
There's just a bunch of old cereal scattered around the back from someone's kid who spilled it.
So wait, let's go down our list of aliens that we have here.
All right, there's
Raul.
Raul. Well, everyone's an alien from some point of view.
Yeah. I think we've discussed this, haven't we?
I believe
the word
so.
alien in Trek.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Bhavani, Leor
is the Goss.
The other two.
And we also have Mendoza.
Yeah, we do have Mendoza. I forgot about him. He's just out of some crime procedural. His name, his mustache.
yeah, absolutely.
Mendoza, you're off the force.
He's the Federation representative, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not a hired gun. He's actually part of the Federation.
Right, Ral is the only hired gun.
And even that is just so dumb. The usage of that phrase. He's a hired gun. It's like, I'm surprised there's no freeze frame of this episode of Ral with his shirt off and Troy in his arms. That's exactly the fucking tone that they have.
Yeah. No, I absolutely, and I mean, even before this episode aired, you know, I don't want to say the plot leaked, but you know, it would appear in the TV guides and such, and we got a lot of mail about the inevitable sex scene between the two.
Right.
Not a lot afterwards, so I'm not really sure what happened.
I think everybody was satisfied with the foot rubbing scene. Which we had an order from the producers to film it that way, which I never really understood. But you know, what are you gonna do? You can't just deny a production note.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
It was just weird how oiled up everything was for the shot.
Yeah. It comes in straight, you know, straight close up of the foot,
right?
And it kind of lingers there.
Now I have a story about this that you know, but I'm gonna tell everyone who they might not know. That foot, not Marina Sirtis's foot. We tried that, and you know, she took off her sock or whatever, put the foot down on set, and it immediately became apparent that this was an quote unfilmable foot. It just, you know, the middle toe was longer than the index toe.
Oh no!
Yeah, there was like an overhung nail. Just...
Oh, you know what? I did hear about this actually, because there was like this odor coming from him too.
Yeah, and you know, that's insofar as filmability. Sure, you're not going to notice that as the viewer, but there's somebody behind that camera. There's other people on that set.
Well, you know, Matt's got to touch it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I could see that being an issue.
Yeah, so luckily we just got Brent to paint one of his toenails, and it was fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He did have pretty feminine feet, didn't he?
Right, and we all complimented him on that all the time, and finally it paid off.
Well, you remember in editing, there was that story of one of the guys was talking about getting you know, from the feet.
Yeah.
And then they had to break the news to him that it was Brent's feet, and that didn't deter him.
No, he paid, if I recall, a pretty hefty sum, and you know, Brent's never wanted to turn down work as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
So he took it, they did it, and you know, Brent treated us to dinner that week.
Because you know, when you think about it, sex work really is just acting.
Right. In a lot of ways, you know, the false intimacy, all the accoutrement and the makeup and the wardrobe,
the feigned pleasure.
You know, I want to invest in sex work. I want to invest in honest sex work.
Mm-hmm.
You go to a sex worker with a cheaper rate, of course, but they're just completely disinterested, and it lasts like 2 minutes, and both parties leave relatively unsatisfied.
I bet that would actually go over well with a certain crowd.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, don't you think so?
I suppose. I mean, it is my investment opportunity, so I do think so, yes.
You're really into honest things these days, honest mahjong.
I'm an honest guy. My lifetime in Hollywood will attribute to that. And I've never told a lie.
That is true. I can attest to that.
Damn it! Damn it! I said the wrong word!
What?
I said the wrong word! Steven, do not write that down. Stop! Fuck.
What happened?
I said a tribute instead of a test. Now all the world knows about my bad vocabulary.
I didn't even notice, Mitch. I don't think anyone would have noticed.
Yeah, that's why you put so much emphasis on the word attest when you used it.
No, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. Stop hitting yourself. Stop it. Calm down, calm down. You want some chocolate?
Yes, I want real chocolate.
Define real in context, please.
The good stuff.
That good.
I'll give you none of that Hershey shit. We've had, just as some insight for the viewers, we've had this 3-foot-long Hershey bar gifted to us, but like months ago, and I refuse to touch it. It's not good.
Gross.
Yeah. It's like, and it's milk chocolate. Like, what am I?
I don't even want a
3-year-old?
normal Hershey bar. But yeah, no, it's disgustingly sweet.
I suspect this was gifted to us more as a burden than a gift. It was burdened to us.
Yeah,
but
now we have to carry it with us wherever we go. It's a gift.
The terrible thing is that chocolate never goes bad. So we're going to be stuck with this, saddled with it for years.
Yeah, Japanese honor dictates that we must keep the gift even if we dislike it.
Right, and put it on display.
Put it on display so that every time the gifter comes over, they get to see that you haven't touched it and you in fact hate it. But it's become a burden for you, and you kind of passive aggressively let them know.
Yeah, I have it hung on the wall, on our wall next to our Van Gogh prints.
Yeah, well, we took a painting down for it, just to drive the point
Starry Night
further.
Yeah,
it's a shame. Yeah. So the main plot of this episode, in case anyone who watched it fell asleep, which I wouldn't blame them for, is that these aliens that Bhavani is the representative of, I can't remember what they're called. But they're not very...
The Calypsian? Calistonians?
The Calypsos?
Calypso?
They're not very high tech, but they've discovered a wormhole literally right next to their planet. In fact, so close that I'm worried about the planet's safety.
It's very close to the wormhole.
It's very close. All of these, races, planets, groups want control of it, because it's a wormhole, and you can ostensibly, since it's ostensibly stable, you can get from one end of the galaxy to the other.
Well, but interquadrant wormhole.
Oh man, that was going to be my question for you.
Really?
Yeah, I was going to ask how many parts the galaxy is divided into.
Well,
damn it! Now I gotta think of another one while we're doing this. You're a very observant viewer.
Well, again, I've been watching Deep Space Nine recently, and actually, this episode has a lot of similarities. It sows a lot of seeds of what will become Deep Space Nine. There's a stable wormhole that goes between quadrants of the galaxy. There's a heavy Ferengi presence. It's more of just an accurate observation than a joke, but it is true.
Well, that's nice.
But that's where I got all of my quadrant theory from.
We get a lot of Ferengi action in Deep Space Nine, huh?
Yeah, there's Quark, and Quark's brother, and Quark's nephew. and get this. Do you know what is the name of that guy? He's from Princess Wallace Shawn.
Wallace Shawn.
Do you know Wallace Shawn?
The name doesn't ring a bell. What's he in?
Have you seen The Princess Bride?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the guy, the Jewish guy? Looks kind of like George.
Okay, yep.
So he plays like a Ferengi leader, like the topmost Ferengi. Yeah, and it's just as ridiculous as it sounds.
Well, that's pretty close to what we were talking off mic about the Jewish caricature Ferengi. Like the real one, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's not too far off.
No, especially the whiny, nasally voice, and just the terrible hook nose. Steven, don't write that down. It was an off mic conversation. My God. This biographer is one of the worst ideas you've ever had.
You did this.
I did not do it. I just...
You explicitly said you did it.
Well... Yeah? Well, that's just how it goes sometimes.
You covering for me?
Yeah, I'm trying to
Now
be a
you
good
decided
partner.
not to.
I'll admit, I had, wistfully in bed, I just kind of well, wouldn't it be nice to hire a biographer? And, maybe you were just acting on that, but it's, not fully my responsibility.
Do you want to stop to figure out this echo?
No, it's good. It's done.
Oh, it's done. Yeah, I think I might have had my I have one of my headphones off to the side. I think I might have been getting it too close to the mic.
It was only a little bit, so don't worry.
Okay. The trials and tribulations of podcasting. It's a tough job.
It is. I'm not editing this. It's too tough a job.
Sometimes your audio gets messed up and there's no reason for it. Sometimes you watch the wrong episode. Sometimes you sleep through the entire night.
Sometimes you stare at an empty corner of the room and talk to a biographer who's not there. And it's really tough to maintain your sanity in this climate.
He's real, Mitch. He's real.
So, next, negotiations begin between all these fucking aliens that we just talked about. And eventually they reach a conclusion and the episode ends.
Well, yeah, I don't know how much of the Troy Rala stuff we're kind of skipping over, but it's all just complete garbage anyway.
It's terrible.
It's really bad. It's like every romantic trope you can think of, just done poorly. Like she meets him and immediately wants to fuck him for no real reason. He doesn't really do anything.
I would say that this is a reversal of a common trope, at least in Hollywood. You see this a lot. Like later on, for example, Patrick Stewart, Jean-Luc Picard goes to a pleasure planet, and like all these young attractive women are into him, and that's usually what it is. You got this like kind of whatever guy and some supporting actress that's much more attractive. That's his female love interest. And in this episode, we reverse that. We kind of have this kind of plain Jane Troy with a much more attractive male love interest. I would say so anyway, and that was the idea. Maybe you would disagree. I know your thoughts on the matter.
Well, I understand the intent.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's not an unattractive guy by any means. I mean, he's much more attractive than Troy. Come on.
You're right. And Marina, put her ego aside. She was kind of into this, in the name of feminism. Yeah. So it's a true ally on her part.
Yeah, I guess in that respect we were fairly successful. And I don't know. Did we go on to kind of continue this trend?
In future episodes? Well, there was the Crusher one where I think Crusher falls in love with a ghost, and both, which is just innately ridiculous. But both parties in that episode were evenly attractive, I believe. Crusher can get it. She wears spandex in this episode, but so does Troy.
Oh yeah. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
I've gotten to that several times this week.
We do have to note that the Ferengi kind of insert themselves into this negotiation by force. They just kind of show up
and start talking about chairs.
They start talking about chairs. I'm not sure who tipped them off that there was a negotiation going on. They don't really seem to be knowledgeable about much, but all of a sudden they've shown up near this wormhole.
Now here's when the Ferengi join, we get some undeveloped Ferengi lore where they're using gold instead of the more traditional gold pressed latinum that the Ferengi become fascinated with later on.
That's right. I guess this is before they had used gold to press latinum instead of just keeping gold in weird chunks.
Now, do you think the phrase gold pressed latinum comes from a combination of gold and platinum?
Yeah, I do think that, yes. I'm not quite sure why, but that is what comes to mind. Yeah, he throws his gold onto the table, which looks like it's the equivalent of like $10,000.
Yeah, not so much.
A lot of gold. Interesting fact: most people don't know this, but the gold that he brings is not actually real gold, right?
Right.
It's actually just a prop used in filming TV shows, which I've seen in like the Star Trek reader guides or whatever. They usually misrepresent this. We did not have access to that much gold.
No, just movie magic, really. TV magic, if you will.
Yeah, the silver screen.
Yeah. No,
what makes it silver?
I think it's pressed with silver, which gives it its reflective sheen.
Oh, okay. So it's like silver latinum.
Right. Silver pressed latinum. Now, I for one, really want to press my latinum with platinum. Platinum press latinum.
I'm trying to think of Palatinum.
Isn't that the name of a Ferengi?
Palatinum. What's the name of their leaders? Daimon Palatinum.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Daimon.
Daimon. There's also the
no, Daimon. It's Daimon now. Daimon Palatinum.
It's been decided. The name of the Wallace Shawn Ferengi leader was the Nagus.
Yeah. Oh God.
Now Quark briefly becomes the Nagus, but little do we know at the time that was just a ploy by the old Nagus to train his son in how to be the Nagus.
You just want to keep saying Nagus.
Why would I want to say Nagus? What is there to gain?
There's a history. There's a history in the production of Star Trek of people saying words very similar to Nagus.
Yes, but I think those were out of momentary flights of blind rage rather than any enjoyment.
Fair enough. There's an interesting scene. Okay, yeah, no, it's after Goss. I keep forgetting his name. Goss slams the gold on the table. That we cut to Troy's office, and Raul comes in, and this is kind of the first, touchy scene with them, where he goes into her office and just starts rubbing her.
Yeah, he starts ruffling her hair like a fucking dog,
and telling her like he's so condescending, but to the point that it even bothers me.
But Troy's into it.
Yeah, which is it's unbelievable to me.
It's unbelievable to you that a woman would enjoy being condescended to?
But not in that way. Like there's a nuance to it, and this isn't the way.
Okay, it's not the way.
This is not the way.
Neighbor in the way.
Little Star Wars reference for you.
I haven't seen Star Wars. The Book of Bob.
You played with the Lego sets though.
Yeah, I love playing with the Lego sets. I bought.
Yeah, you like to fly them around and make the sound effects.
Yeah.
You bought that big Millennium Falcon recently.
Right. I bought it to commemorate the second millennium. Now I was a few years late, but it was worth.
You know what they say?
It.
Better Nate than Lever.
Right, better Nate than Lever, and I built it alongside Nate, good friend. But it's
you've ended your friendship with Lever, of course.
Right. Well, Lever, he broke my Lego Death Star, so I couldn't play Lego with him anymore. It's
a real shame.
he called me Alderaan and threw the fucking thing in my head. It's just...
Is that what happened in the film? They just kamikaze Alderaan. That would have made for an even better film, actually.
I like to think so. Yes.
Oh man, yeah. So that scene sucked. There's also a great scene I think it's in the Ready Room with Mendoza, Picard, and Riker, where Mendoza says, "You must play poker, Commander."
The worst thing of all time. The new worst thing of all time in this episode.
Tell me how you felt
watching
this scene.
I felt fucking miserable. I rolled my eyes at that, and what was a brief moment of respite in perhaps humor when Riker tries to play coy like the devilish individual that he is then just followed up on with more praise lavished upon him for his massive poker skills. And I'm so beside myself because Riker is just fucking terrible at poker.
He's not good.
God.
He's not good. He God. What a stupid line to even introduce into the script. You must play poker, Commander. Is poker really that ubiquitous?
Based on just him realizing that Ral has a strategy, he's like, oh,
yeah, right.
That Ral guy's up to something. You must play poker.
He literally could have just been like, oh, you must play Stratagema. Yeah, you know.
What was the name of that thing that Riker fought his father in?
Oh God.
You must do this death game.
Commander, you must watch Dirty Pair.
Dirty Pair? Is that an anime of some sorts? Commander Riker has the biggest anime collection on the Enterprise.
He does that fucking smirk. That's right. Commander Riker introduced me to Neon Genesis Evangelion. A masterpiece.
Good lord.
Yeah, so that was insufferable.
Then they send out not a probe, a manned vessel to explore the wormhole.
Yeah, thank you. I hadn't written this down, but this is a very important part of the episode.
Do you write down the plot points?
Yeah, because I don't remember them.
Oh. Well, yeah.
I watch an episode and then scrub it from my mind immediately.
Jettison all thoughts of Trek out of there.
Much like the probe.
Yeah. So they want to make sure that they're not buying what is, quote, a proverbial lemon, which was the original title.
Proverbial lemon.
Yeah, the original title of the episode. But after a few members of the cast scoured the script for the lemon proverb, we had to change the title. But
it's interesting you say that.
Why?
Interesting you say that because we had a few title changes with this episode, right?
Yeah, it just keeps happening because sometimes you find a title and yes, this works, and that you stay with that the whole time, and a few other times the title changes incessantly as the vision of the episode changes along with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a shame because I mean, all they had to do was put in a lemon reference somewhere, and there you go, you got your title.
Right.
But the first title I think was it was a Mike Pillar idea for I mean, we'd already gone through a few episodes already, production wise, but he wanted to start doing this naming convention, much like well, I mean, it hadn't come out yet, but you got Friends, and we talked about it the other episode. These shows with naming conventions.
Seinfeld.
And Mike Pillar wanted something a little catchy, And his idea was to structure all these episodes, like who X's the Xer.
Right.
Right.
We saw that earlier this season with Who Watches the Watchers.
Watches the Watchers, yeah. And we actually have a bit of a reference to this in the episode. The original title was going to be Who Counsels the Counselor, which is something that Ral says to Troy while he's massaging Brent's feet. And for whatever reason, this just didn't work out. Like we were going to have, who does this to but my personal opinion is I think this has to do with, I'm not going to name names, but a certain someone's recommendation for the Geordi episode.
Yeah.
and his use of the hard R. He certainly did not say negus.
Some tables were flipped when that came out.
Yeah, and so that kind of ended all talk.
For what it's
of
worth,
this naming convention.
That question, that particular question, the answer was, of course, Brent. Data, as it were, but It's a question that nobody dare ask aloud.
Yeah, certainly. And it's a shame. It's a shame that we can't ask these important questions nowadays because everyone's too sensitive.
Right. You could never make who. It would never
Holy
work.
Shit. Stanley, cut that out and post.
Moving on.
Who does counsel the counselor, though?
Raoul counsels the counselor. He answered that question himself. Perhaps it was rhetorical.
He's not a very good counselor.
Right. He's a true counselor among counselors. Not really. He's not good at it.
He's a counselor's counselor. Just laughing at the idea of a counselor who is only appreciated by other counselors because of their meta counseling.
He's just terrible with the general population.
It just speaks in riddles, basically. All the other counselors are like, oh, wow, I get it.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, we're pitching a show about that.
A true counselor's counselor. I'm into it.
Yeah.
But after this, there's more negotiations. Ral talks. What is his name? Phalor? Lenore? Leor. Out of the talks. He uses his empathic abilities, which we don't know at this point.
He was very convincing, wasn't he? He sits him down at 10 forward and says, "You don't want to do this," and Leor says, "I don't want to do this," and then walks away. The episode almost leads you to believe he has like Jedi mind trick skills.
That's what empathy is, right?
It is a superpower,
right?
At least in terms of the audience who watches Star Trek, I guess.
You can just understand other people's emotions?
What? Oh, wait. We didn't talk about that probe. This is after all the probe stuff happens, isn't it?
When they go through the wormhole?
Yeah, I think this is after.
Yeah, so the Enterprise and the Ferengi both send probes through the wormhole. Geordi and Data are on a wonderful little cardboard cutout of a shuttle. that just like
fucking flat shot.
Yeah,
of them. Oh my
god, it's like 4 feet wide.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a scene in Seinfeld whenever they're in a car and you can just very clearly tell
exactly what it is.
that it's just
There's
a fucking green screen
footage behind them. Yeah,
someone's just like turning the wheel haphazardly with no rhyme or reason.
yeah, like wildly too.
Yeah. And in this, our version of that was that little terrible set, quote unquote set, just shaking for no reason, as if there's turbulence in space.
Joke. Right.
Oh Lord. So yeah, they go through, and Geordi with his visor, it's like, this is something's amiss here. This is not the wormhole we thought it was. The destination's different. He doesn't sound like, I don't know why I'm saying that. But they try to hail the Ferengi and tell them, oh, this is a different place. This wormhole's unstable. You're in danger. And the Ferengi are like, yeah, whatever, nerd. I want my gold. And we're not...
they're like willfully stupid.
Yeah, which is strange. Because, again, in further developed depictions of the Ferengi, they're made out to be ruthless but competent in matters of trade, and this really doesn't fly with that. This is just...
Well, I feel like they were already depicted in TNG as like a little more like we said earlier at the start of this podcast. This episode kind of just like takes the Ferengi back to the season 1 representation of themselves, which is awful.
Back to the Stone Age.
But during the Stone Age.
During the Act Age.
Oh wow, that's that's the guy who got arrested, right?
Yes. One of the guys. There's many people in
One
that
of the
trade
many.
who have been arrested for that particular offense.
Yeah. Well, most of them get away pretty scot free, right? Got
Yeah, it's a slap on the dick.
your they get rewarded even.
But so the conclusion of this is that Geordi and Data make it back through the wormhole, and the Ferengi are just stranded in space.
Yeah.
Which was
they do survive.
They do survive, and this was supposed to be a soft pilot for a sitcom of ours to expand the Star Trek EU called Two Ferengi in Space.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it had potential, but for some reason the studio didn't want to greenlight a show about two Jewish stereotypes getting into wacky situations.
Imagine that. Imagine that. They just saved it all for DS9.
Right. Although I will say that Clark, the lead Ferengi on that show, is decidedly less Jewish looking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they give him realistic human teeth. His nose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his nose to jaw ratio is fixed.
That is weird. That because Jews do characteristically have sharp shark teeth.
Right. Much like anime girls.
Right. They got those fangs.
Yes.
But yeah, you do remember, what's his name? He played Quark. He was one of the original Ferengis in TNG.
Yeah,
so
but
it would be interesting to see a side by side.
It would, and it's interesting to me because there are other Ferengi in DS9, but their costumes and the way that they do the makeup, they look much less appealing, much less attractive than Quark, who as a main character is made to be more visually appealing and endearing. So,
well, I guess that is kind of a prerequisite for a character that you're meant to sort of care about.
Yeah. No, that's true. But it's just interesting to me that just these somewhat subtle differences completely change how a character looks.
Mm-hmm.
And rather how they're received by the audience. I'm sorry, I'm looking up Ferengi pictures right now. And
Ferengi pics.
Where can I find Ferengi pics?
What is this image of Quark dressed like a fucking woman?
What?
He's got like boobs.
Are you on DeviantArt again?
No, look at this. He looks like a drag queen.
Oh, this is very strange. Is that Quark? I don't think that's Quark.
I don't know. It's probably not Quark. It doesn't look like Quark.
It's just a random Ferengi woman.
Oh god, what if Ferengi women look like that?
Oh no.
All right, we're gonna look up Ferengi woman.
It's probably gonna be the exact image you find.
Yep. That's what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I'm glad DS9 was there to tackle these hard-hitting questions of what about the Ferengi women?
Well, that is always somewhat of a complaint in kind of fantasy sci-fi stuff, is that in terms of aliens, the men always look ugly, and then the women are always just hot, like human-looking things.
Right.
Which is fine by me.
I'll now buy your sci-fi television show.
DS9 was truly progressive.
Well, DS9 was pretty static insofar as the space station never really went anywhere, unlike the Enterprise.
Well, I guess that's true.
But whatever, those two Ferengi are stranded in space. Riker hears about this later and just smiles. It's like those guys are gone.
That's pretty characteristically Riker, though, isn't it?
It is.
He's very spiteful sometimes.
What did they do to him?
Riker comes off as the guy who was bullied in high school,
and now he just wants any power over anybody else.
Pretty much, yeah. Like now he's like a Chad Light.
I mean, he kind of gets mogged by Ral insofar as looks, and Ral is just a better negotiator too.
I'm gonna put a hot take out there. I think Frakes is more attractive than Matt McCoy.
That's
Sorry.
ridiculous. You are ridiculous.
I know it is, but he's just. I think Frakes is an actual really good looking guy when he's not not in his two cakes form.
Oh God! I mean,
how do you say cakes in Spanish?
Esperanto.
El forma de dos tortas.
He's a little torta, isn't he?
You're a little torta, aren't you? That's what we used to say to him. We used to poke his belly and say, "You're a little torta."
Yeah, I mean, I always love talking to my fat friends about torts.
That is true. It seems like to really know a thing or two about torts, you have to be a fat, disgusting gremlin. You know?
Much like Jonathan Frakes. I don't know. I don't think Frakes is all that attractive.
All right, fine. That's fine. That's different strokes.
But he's like, he's in the uncanny valley of being like 80% to attractiveness, but the other 20% of his features just are blindingly distracting.
That's literally Matt McCoy.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Maybe they're a better match than we thought they were.
Perhaps. I don't know. We both stand one of these two.
I would like to hear the ensign's opinion. Feel free to email us incessantly about who you think is better.
We'll have some shirts on Teespring. Team Riker, Team Ral, and
yep.
On the back of the Riker shirt, it'll be a quote. It's the first bad move I've seen you make.
And on the back of the Ral shirt,
who counsels the counselor?
Yeah.
But Ral kind of styles on everybody, because in his encounter with Troy, where she's talking about the moral implications of his empathy, he kind of wins that argument, no problem. And
okay, I need to talk about something here. What are they eating, and what are those dishes?
They're eating those.
Did you notice this?
They're eating those scented soaps that.
Is that in like cacti or something? and they're like miming cutting stuff.
And they're using forks too for these little like beads.
But they're like these deep bowls that like you can't even possibly get a knife into. This bothered me more than anything in the episode.
It's quite illogical.
It's just heinous. It's heinous. But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yes, yeah, I guess he does kind of win out there. I mean, she's a woman, she can't really present a logical argument.
Troy's general lack of agency in the episode again points to the romance novel theory of mine.
Yeah, sure, true. Yeah, I mean that is what it feels like. This was, I believe, written by hold on, Hannah Louise Shearer.
Hanna-Barbera, as I like to call her.
Interestingly, directed by Robert Shearer, no relation.
That is interesting, actually.
But yeah, Hannah wrote "We'll Always Have Paris."
Yeah,
I don't know if that draws any
another banger.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. The lack of talent behind and in front of the camera. really startling.
We already skipped over the stretching scene. And this was just bizarre, just apropos of nothing. And just, I mean, I guess it was the 80s, it was a different time. I'm over that look. It was gross looking. I don't want to see women spreading themselves in leotards, let alone Troy.
How did you feel about Crusher's monologue about her, quote, riding the cock carousel before she met Jack, and how much she enjoyed that than Jack?
Well, Mitch, this is what the kids would call a red pill, and 20% of the men get 80% of the women.
Oh God, what do they call that? Monotheism?
Yeah, I think something like that. Man, the hell is the word for that?
Menage a Troy.
Menage a Troy. Wait, have we watched that one already?
No, I think that one's much later.
Okay.
The Menage a Troy in question is either Troy's mom, and Riker, or Troy's mom, and some fat Ferengi.
I'm still trying to think of that word. What's that word they always use?
Hypergamy.
Yeah, hypergamy. That's it. Yeah. Such a fucking stupid scene, and it's all like I don't know if it's all in. Obviously, someone wanted these two women to spread themselves on camera for some reason, and so it's not all in service of this, but it's very much in service of the stupid joke at the end where Troy's like, I should stop doing this, and they look at each other like, nah.
I know why this was. The 90% of the episode was written to accommodate the female audience, with its illogical female lead and terrible dialogue and insufferable romance, and this was the remaining 10% for the usual audience to.
Yes.
Look at Troy's rear end and Crusher's legs.
They really are terrible outfits, though.
Yeah, and they barely do any workout or stretching. They just do it for 5 minutes. Nah.
Yeah, is this a regular thing? Do they like? So
is
what?
Is this world
they
building?
do splits. They do splits on the floor and play patty cake with each other. What's even the point?
It's a 24th century workout.
It's not even yoga. It's below yoga.
Now, if you notice that when they're stretching, Crusher Gates is much more capable of stretching than Marina, who just kind of fumbles along awkwardly.
Well, I know who I would want.
Who would you want?
Well, I mean,
Ral?
Do I have to spell it out?
Sure.
No, not Ral.
Spell it out like you're talking about taking a dog for a walk, but you don't want him to hear that word.
WellI. I would obviously take the more flexible one,
That's true. Yeah, I mean, because when I do the deed, I really like to pretzel things up.
Yeah, no, I like to almost break her bones.
Grind them up, stick them in a stew.
Really push it to the limit in terms of how far I can get her leg over her head.
Oh, her leg over her head. I see.
Yeah.
I see. I don't know. I had a different image of your sexual relations.
I don't even want to know.
I see. Well, I mean, what else happened in this episode?
Yeah, so yeah, go ahead.
Ral makes another ploy. This time he tries to. Oh, he talks to Riker before this. Fucking A. They go to the bar and we talk. This is the worst thing ever. And Ral's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get under Riker's skin. I'm gonna mention Troy." And then he does this, and he's so empathetic he doesn't even realize that Riker doesn't give a shit. And then Riker's like, I'm the true clever man here. Here's to the last mile. Ugh. And he walks off in his stupid retarded way he always does. It was just this was, what this reminded me of? This reminded me of that scene where Riker is flirting with Guinan to show Crusher.
Yes. I love how stupid that scene is.
It's just, none of these scenes have any dialogue that even resembles a way a human being would talk to another human.
You mean you don't say, you are the most beautiful woman in the galaxy?
I mean, I say that to you, but that's with some forethought in mind. But really, it's just overly wrought dialogue that is kind of like some kind of loser fantasizing how an exchange would go, where he comes out on
Yes,
top.
that's exactly what it is. Yes, it's like someone bullied you in middle school, and you go home and lay in bed and think about, oh, if I was 5 inches taller, I would have said this.
Right. And then everybody claps in the background, and
Yeah.
because you're so clever.
It's like that scene in Spider-Man where he beats up Flash.
Sure. I don't. Is that the one where he catches the tray as it's falling?
Yeah.
Right. And Kirsten Dunst is like, "Wow."
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is okay. That is the scene. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hated this, and it was long. Felt long. Every scene in this episode feels long. This episode feels long. It's just so boring.
This episode felt like it was 2 hours long.
Yeah. God. Really not a fan. And whatever. So they move on. Ral makes a ploy with the Ferengi to blow up.
Honestly, fuck it. Who cares?
All right.
Who gives a shit?
The episode ends.
The episode ends. Ral gets his comeuppance after Troy decided she doesn't want to fuck him anymore, and much like all relationships, and he's emasculated, and it turns out that the wormhole is garbage, and everyone
It's a
goes
lemon.
home. It's a proverbial lemon.
Proverbial lemon.
Oh.
But here's the thing. Ral doesn't even really get his comeuppance. He's like, I've represented these guys well before. They'll understand.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. He does kind of get off scot-free, doesn't he? He's like...
And Troy shutting him down doesn't even matter, because he had already rejected Troy. He was the one who walked out of that dinner.
Right.
So, Ral wins again. Really.
Yeah, he wins. Yeah, I guess he just perpetually wins because he's a sociopath.
I'll never understand you. Now you're against sociopaths?
Was I for sociopaths?
You were one.
I was one? We're going to have a long talk about this.
All right. Well, it's okay if Steven joins,
look for that
right?
on the Patreon.
Yeah. So out of 10, would you give this episode a 7 or an 8?
This episode, I think, gets a 4 at most.
Yeah, it's the clear low water mark of season 3.
It's the low water mark of Jesus, like Trek after the Skin of Evil.
Yeah, it's really bad, and I blame a lot of this on the decision to focus on Troy. I can't think of a compelling Troy. No, I can think of a compelling Troy episode, but that was more her as an actor in a more action oriented series of events than a character thing. So
yeah, I mean it's not like Troy can't be done well. It's just they just don't do well by her ever.
No, but
and her power's stupid.
Her power is stupid, and it's barely useful here. Because whatever, it only serves to, like you said, emasculate Ral. But sooner or later, Geordi and Data were going to come back and just be like, "Oh well, the wormhole's done. There's a lemon."
Right.
Ral was.
Geordi would Data would come onto the bridge and say, "Captain, I believe the wormhole is what you would call a proverbial lemon."
How'd you like the moment earlier where Picard says that and he just immediately shuts down Data? Just doesn't even entertain it anymore. Everyone's so sick of that shit.
Yeah, I know. I think they've, like, at this point, the writers had gotten somewhat self-aware about it. So anytime that comes up, it's like within a second, it's just like, no, shut up.
There's been, as I'm noticing, there's been a much less heavy focus on Data recently.
This season, yeah, for sure. Well, there's only so far you can take Data, at that pace.
Right.
You're right. There was a lot of Data stuff early on. He was almost like the main character for a while.
Yeah, I can't quantify it. I don't have the numbers on screen time or anything, but I've just noticed, I felt a distinct lack of Data. And nobody asking about Data either on screen. Nobody saying, where's Data?
Where's Data? Yeah, which they should be doing.
Right. Yeah, I a 4 is fine, a 3 is fine out of 10. This episode is just terrible.
It's seriously one of the worst
of all time.
One of the worst things I've ever watched. Really, it's so bad.
My opinion hasn't changed on it, at least since we started talking about it.
Yeah, no, we haven't.
Which is nice.
We haven't changed
our diapers. So if
no, we got to get around to that.
I have a trivia question for you this week.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah. Okay.
How many sections is the galaxy divided into?
You should have asked how many quadrants is the galaxy divided into.
You're right. That would have been a funnier joke. Can I take a mulligan?
A mull again?
Yeah, can I take a mull again?
I guess.
All right, I'm going to go watch Martin Mull's stand-up. Then I'll come back and do this joke again with inspiration.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
As always, this comes from our bosom buddies at Memory Alpha.
We love them.
They love us. We're intimate.
We're in the same bosom.
We live here. So there's a scene where Goss is chatting up some ensigns at the bar.
Yes.
He's talking to one for a minute, and then she walks away, and then he goes and starts harassing another. So according to Star Trek: The Next Generation Companion, 2nd edition, page 109.
Jesus Christ.
Goss is referring to the size of his what?
His lobes.
When he's talking to these... His lobes?
His lobes.
Not his lobes.
If this was DS9, it would have been his lobes.
You've been watching too much DS9.
Nah! Anyway, what is it?
Sex organ.
In that language?
Yeah,
what?
It says the size of his, quote, sex organ.
That's pretty good. I think that's funny.
The script otherwise describes the scene as Goss is putting a few moves on a good-looking woman at the bar. She finally tires of him, walks out.
I didn't see any tires in the episode.
Yeah. She tires at him.
They fight.
But no mention of his sex organ in the script. So this might be something that Star Trek: The Next Generation Companion made up.
Computer, display Ferengi sex organ.
I wonder what it looks like. I bet it's like one of those like pointy like animal type ones.
I would
like
say it's more of a knob, like a stout, short, pudgy knob,
like a fat mushroom.
Yeah, kind of, but more not without the overhang. Just kind of like maybe a nub is a better word.
I gotcha.
Kind of like an Audi belly button, but thicker.
Right, like Chris Chan.
Yeah. Like Chris Chan's sex organ.
Right. That's Chris Chan. I mean, our friend Chris Chan.
Right, from China.
Yeah.
So that's gonna do it for this episode of the Readier Room, the worst episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation of all time, and I'm still angry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Want to give a shout out to our sponsors: Denny's, home of the Grand Slam; Pet Boys, home of the 2-minute oil change; and recently added to our roster is 7-Eleven, where you can get a Slurpee the size of your fucking head. Join us next time. We'll have another episode of Star Trek. We might even enjoy it. You want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Bad bye. Until next time, everybody, please deign yourselves to stay readier.
The troublesome little man-child.
I stand before you defrocked, condemned to be a member of this lowest of species.
Thank you, Ensign. Engage.
Do you consider yourself superior to us?
Should have told him to mind his own damn business.
But I struck the beard
but do I not appear more intellectual?
Computer, freeze program.
Have you never dreamed of climbing inside the bottle?